And welcome to Center Grip or Punch Shield. I am Deathlily Megatron Sunshine. I may not have been your first choice instructor for this, but I'm your instructor today, so we're going to have fun. Just so that you're not too worried about the qualifications, and a disclaimer, if this feels like it's stuff you already know and you're not having fun and you'd like to abandon ship, I will not judge you. Please do. I want you to get the most out of your SKBC experience. There's a lot of good content all over the place. No one will feel bad. If you just get tired or whatever, no problem, okay? Everybody good? Yeah? Okay, sweet. For some background on Punch Shield from me and how the class is going to work, I like a 30-30-30 split. What that means is we're going to do 30 minutes split into two 15 sections. Some of this is like explanation, what we're doing, some demo, talk a little bit about this, what I'm doing right now, just kind of getting the vibe, know each other. It's like a little break. I don't know if your class before this was intense, but I mean, some of them are. So we'll take a few minutes just kind of ease into this, all right? What I'd love to hear from you guys is a little about yourself, your names. I'm sorry, I will forget most of them. I'm super bad at this. If you tell me it like 800 times, I will eventually learn. It's not disrespectful. I just have a problem, I swear. So, anyways, a little background. I originally started with a terrible dome, like everybody that had a snow sled that they didn't know what they were doing. Strapped that thing up, it was awful and terrible. I moved to a tower shield because I thought that was the way. That was another terrible experience for me. And then eventually a punch shield. Somewhere in my first 5 years, I used a punch shield a lot. A little bit smaller than this one, probably in that like 24-inch kind of round style shield, right? Got a lot of experience and exposure to a specific way of doing center grip shield from M-Hog before his heart exploded. That's a whole story. If you don't know that, Michael Hammer of God, his heart did blow up once, and he lived, so that's pretty cool. But he was a center grip guy, so I kind of learned from my knight and how to do this. I then started to drink the Kool-Aid on domes again from the torches and that whole thing, which, you know, yay company, woo, or fighting unit for the guys who don't know what companies are, it's totally fine. And that has been a really cool experience, a totally different facet of how to play. That being said, we're here for center grip. We're not here for all this other nonsense. Lily, why are you talking about all this crap we don't care about? I just want to point that all of these kind of skills that we're going to learn and talk about, that's a tick for sure, that little bastard. And that's a bug. I want to remember that. Yeet! All of this stuff is going to translate, okay? We're going to have some cool tricks and advantages to using a punch that some of the other strap shields don't have. We're going to try to leverage those skills to make ourselves better than everybody else. I think there are some really cool pros to this, all right? Everyone's like, oh, but the dome is so hard to hit over. It's not that easy. I mean, it's not that hard, I promise. There's tricks. This gets us out of trouble a lot. We put ourselves in a bad position, we can save ourselves with this. If we end up compromised, we have a cure. It's a punch shield. So they're really, really cool. They're really, really fun. You're in a class, or
I'm here to help you. Yes.
Oh, excellent. I'm just I do a 30-30-30 split, and then the 30 minutes will break into my 2:15. We're just kind of introductions and the last one. So short story time, since we've got a lot of time to do this and fight. Make sure you guys are paying attention. I am primarily a dome fighter. I would say generally an expert in that style of fighting. This has given me a lot of tools, however, that I will leverage into that style as well. And I can use both kind of styles to enhance my overall fighting anyway. Okay? So hopefully we'll be able to identify those and give you guys some new tools to work with and some just other ways to think about the equipment. There's no like right way or wrong way. If you want to be the best board fighter that's a center grip that's ever been, practice with that piece of equipment. It's awesome. But don't be afraid to try some of these other ones and gain those new skills. Understanding just how to hit a dome fighter, if that's a struggle you have, I promise you, it's not that hard. We'll go over it. You will all know how to do it in this class because I have betrayed the dome today, and I'm all about this. This is numero uno. Okay, that being said, that's background. I put a bunch of time into this again recently. I got challenged by Nip, if you guys are familiar with that fighter. Very solid cross gamer. Very, 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 very good. For whatever reason, he sent me a message, and this is on camera, so you can die like 6 months before this last keep. And he's like, hey man, we should throw down punch shields. I'm like, but Nip, I am not a punch shield guy. I have no, you know, what do I know about this thing? So I was like, all right, man, cool. Eric, we'll do this. It'll be fun. We'll fight. So I practiced pretty relentlessly, whether he knew or not, for like 6 months to get ready for this fight with him specifically. And we only did one little set on Friday, to be fair, but I'm going to totally throw him under the bus on this decision. And I think it's a hilarious story because we get there, we posture up, we do our thing, and for my credit, yeah, I got to trounce him once. It was very exciting. I beat the pants off him, and it's very funny because he sits down, he looks at Belle, who's there, if you're familiar with who Belle is, and he goes, "Belle, avenge me." And he just like lays down, and I was like, oh man, I'm starting to vibe with this thing. This is really cool. You know, who knew? 6 months is all you need. You need more than 6 months. But Belle comes and fights me, and then just proceeds to beat the absolute dog shit out of me, okay? Like, I was like, oh my god, there's so much more to know. So there's levels like everything else, and I'm really excited to present at least how I perceive this, and I hope you guys get something from that. That's my ramble. Awesome. Who are you?
Hi, my name is Manama. I'm from the Rising Winds Sword Knight. Punch Shield is actually one of the first styles that I used when I first started Amp-Guard, and I used it for a while because for Amp-Guard, Mard is actually one of my favorite classes to play, and it was just a style that I like fighting because I'm a ranged fighter primarily, and I also like baiting and fading, and Punch Shield is one of those things that can really enable those types of things because the angles that you can do to make people engage on you. So I'd like to talk about that too at some point. So
that's excellent. That is really good content, and we're definitely going to cover this. I also get a disclaimer: they can bail if this is all stuff they already know. They feel bad about it. So in the same fashion, we definitely want to hear what you guys are looking for out of this class, and just something interesting about yourself. You can tell me where you're from if you want, but like I'd rather know whether you're like really into like chinchillas or something, because that would be super rad. Totally different outside the cuff kind of like thought process. All right, so we'll go kind of in a circle. I'm gonna pick a side. If you were in my class earlier, I did the same thing, so like this is kind of old content. We're gonna start like with you. Tell us something about yourself, what you're trying to get out of this class, like what brought you to Center Grip.
So it was a recommendation from a friend of mine, and I've had a lot of success with it. I enjoy the options that Punch Shield offers. Like apparently I move my hands around a lot is what it was, so I just want to kind of min-max that. So.
Excellent. Interesting factoid?
Hajime no Ippo is my favorite anime of all time.
It's a good one, man. Dempsey rolls for days.
Yeah.
Dempsey's a hero.
I'm Chef. I'm a Bell Squire. Swapped over last summer from Strap to like Punch and have been really loving it and want to get better at it.
Awesome. Well, I hope we got some tips. Factoid? Anything?
I have a Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Studies.
Awesome.
Wow.
Nice.
Teach us a class later. That'll be like the bonus class for SKBC.
You're going up with an ancient Greek I haven't used in 10 years.
Look, we know a person or two who can make this happen.
Roderick. I haven't really been using Shield since getting into Amp-Guard. I went straight to Warrior and was like, oh, I'm just going to wear a bunch of armor and go flow the whole time.
Sure.
And as I'm trying to branch out to more things, I'm realizing I need, and just in general, need to rely on armor less. Like, you can't, like tournament fighting, don't say you can't be doing that. So I just want to get general good stuff with learning this.
Well, I hope we have general good stuff.
Essentially, I like Sword and Board because Punch specifically is a lot more flexible than Strap. With Strap, you're a lot more limited on how much you can move. You trust the shield a lot more, but with Punch Shield, you can do crazy shots like throwbacks.
Oh yeah, it's the razzle dazzle style.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm mainly just here to learn how to kill people that use Sword and Board with flails. So,
Flails? Oh,
I'm a flail user.
oh, I didn't know that. Minus 1 point to pro. I'm going to count that as an interesting factoid.
Maverick. I have been in Amp-Guard for about 6 months.
Oh, sick.
Not belted yet.
Welcome.
I tried Strap first. Did not feel weird. Did not feel good.
Sure.
Then Punch is a lot more flexible, and flexivity works better with an aggressive style like I am.
Okay. Factoid?
I'm a reptile guy. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You breeding like dragons and stuff?
I'm sorry.
Are you gonna breed dragons? Ah, come on, that's the best. Make that extra money, that side hustle. We need bearded dragons. We need some tegus. Like
I like snakes. I like snakes. Football pythons and stuff like that.
Whoever's next, sorry, I don't get it.
Hi, I'm Blark. I'm originally from Texas, moved to New York, and adjusting to the climate up there. It's fucking cold. So I originally started out with a strap shield, and I just kept getting board wrapped. And I was like, this is bullshit. And I switched, and I borrowed my friend's punch that happened to be a square, and now I have a square punch. So that's why I started doing it.
Interesting factoid.
Chinchillas fur is so thick they don't get fleas.
To stop me from getting ticks, because I will shave a chinchilla. I'm ready.
I'm Saf, like Sapphire. I'm from Morva in Chicago, cross game with North Team. I started out as like a teardrop strap fighter until about like 4 months ago. I switched over to center grip shield, and it fits me a lot better, so I'm enjoying it. And I guess like I have a degree in video game art, and I work in the 3D art industry, so
My name is Elias. I'm from Chicagoland. I've been fighting for about 12 years. Most of that time, I've been fighting the low strap shield, and I've been fighting a lot of good punch shield users lately. And I'm impressed by their increased ability to safely threaten sword side. And I really just like the active use of it, where it's not just a thing that kind of sits there. It's something that you have to be a little bit more intentional about. Having two tools sounds cooler than having one tool. So that's kind of what I've been, I can fight with it, but like I don't know how to fight. So I want to improve those skills. And a random fact about myself is that I am a classically trained musician. I played the viola for like a million years when I was a kid.
Wow.
Hey, my name's Fish from Rivermore. I started out on Punch Shield, and as I've learned quickly throughout this event, there are a lot of basic things I seem to be missing in my form. So I want to make sure I cover the basics with my favorite shield type. And my interesting factoid is
Ooh.
Good stuff. I'm Jarvis. I started out with Strap Shield and used it for quite some time, and I've recently become a Punch Shield enjoyer. I also, like many other people have, like many other people here have already said, I feel it's increased my repertoire of strikes. That, like things that I normally wouldn't throw, I've begun to throw. Obviously, I'm looking to improve on that, and that's why I'm here. Interesting factoid, I suppose, is I know Simon.
That's a good one.
Rowan of 13 Roads. I started with a max size dome strap shield. I still have it. It's one of the Warlord blanks right before they close, so that's kind of right in my basement wall. Switched to center grip punch round shield just after COVID, and then upgraded to the heater shield about a year ago now. And kind of just coming to this class, see if there's anything new I can learn, things I can try to improve on from basics, anything that I might miss.
Okay. Cool. Factoid? Do we have a factoid? Did I miss it? You have a sick, mutton chop thing going on.
Yeah. Blame Deimos.
It's always Deimos' fault. That sounds totally right.
I'm James Overleaf out of Chaldegor. I really got into doing Punch Shield actually from another LARP, not Bellardag. It was more akin to what Nero is, a lot more story-based. And I started using a punch for that because their fighting style is different, and shins and feet are totally in play. And I am 5'10", and if I drop my arm on a strap shield, I'm not covering it, so it allowed me to get down farther, and then I realized that it allows a lot more flexibility, and strap shield feels absolutely foreign to me at this point. So I'm just like, punch shield all the way. I just want to learn how to better use punch shield in Ant Guard to get this speed of fighting than I love the other game. And fun factoid, I am part of the Joust team at the St. Louis Renaissance Festival. So if you ever visit, you'll probably hear me if you don't see me.
Well, awesome. I hope this highlights that we come from all kinds of different walks of life, and we're all here to do one thing, and that is center grip supremacy. Because I totally believe in that now as the instructor for this class, and I would never lead you astray. Now, so we've chatted a little bit as we've gotten into this. I agree with most of your assessments already on like what I found to be a really good pro and con of this. So hopefully we can give you some more tools, just like we said at the beginning of this. So what I want to do now is we're going to be a little more active first, since we've had some time to chill. I want to get you guys moving, fighting. I kind of want to see what we're working with. We'll give you some kind of critiques as we go, and then we'll come back and discuss kind of what those things were, and hopefully we'll see some quick improvement right out the gate before we jump into some more demo-y stuff. So we're going to change the format a little, just because we had a little more fun sitting and vibing with each other. Yeah? Go ahead and find a partner. What we'll do is go ahead and fight like 3 to 5 fights and just cycle out of that person to like somebody else. We'll find another opponent. We can use our space. This time we don't have the shittiest space to play in, so like that's kind of nice. Huh? And we'll kind of wander and do the thing. Because I have mine is not constructed. Oh god. Let's find you a bonus board. Probably a board line, I don't know.
I'll say, I was about to bring a strap because basics, but yeah, this isn't strap class.
Not even close.
No, we can find us.
Yeah.
There's a bell fighter. Look at that. No. Can't use that. No. Yeah, I need to practice against the flail anyways. Are you cool with being in front of a camera?
I'm relying on my shield to carry all the pressure. I'll plant that. How about that? Sure. Nice, very nice.
You hit me right on the bottom of the arm as I was coming over.
What if I go to the dark side but I go up instead? Because I think he's going to go behind you.
Got that arm for sure. Got that arm.
You got me in the back. Before I threw that step. I'm old. Yeah. That's fine. It's not spring chicken either. So, you get right there. I was trying to break through that line. And I was trying to shoot that line. Yeah. It's kind of a thing I do a lot. Because I do that step and open and I'm coming here. We're all here to watch. No, you got hit first. You got hit first. I thought you were going to go hit. But yeah. Okay. I was expecting you to get like 2. I threw one of these. I can't believe I got it that low. Yeah, you're not low. Yeah. That's what's throwing me off. I'm like, can't I got that low? Yeah, no, like on the belt. Yeah, perfect. I must have been like the whole wrap down. Yeah. Okay. I was like, what? This is okay. Nice. I really thought I'd get you with that. That was good. I know, I'm doing all. Oh yeah, for sure. You did get the gun. Saw you canceled your board out far, and I was like, oh look, whoop, he's candy. opponents?
I'll get there, I swear.
I'm gonna lose some fierce.
They're way out here and they're trying to throw shots like you just did. I will push out. You also move your body up one. Yeah.
Good hit. This is there being a circle shield thing. Yeah. You're gonna work. Sorry. No, it's good. One more. Okay. In the head? Oh, sorry. Okay. So nice ass, right? So it's a good start. What I would love to see you do since you have this center grip, it's a little close to body. I pretty much do the entire fight. It's not leveraging. It's not super hard, right? This has worked out all right. You didn't really get punished for it. So yeah, do you go ahead and square up fighting here? The issue here, and you were talking about worrying about this shoulder.
Sorry about that. I still don't do
The problem with it's how I throw my rep different than conventional I know. Yeah. What's going to happen is when you're here, what happens is when I position here, I'm not trying to bring up the top of you. Okay. You're so close to your person, you're not covered. Okay. When you start to present this out, the defense becomes greater and you have better coverage. Now, it doesn't mean you can't suck it, you can't pull it in, but it basically, my point or my nitpick is that you stay almost at the exact same range the entire time. I had a little play back and forth, but you ended up in a position where I'm like, you should be that.
You're really creating a triangle here, and you're attacking this side of their body, and you push it over. You can actually like
now, if you're like something like that, that could be it. I watched a couple fights. It doesn't mean that it's always a problem. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Manama, 6 more minutes of them kind of scoring, and we'll get but that's okay because they are switching partners here and there, so it should be, they'll be fine.
Okay.
I'm not here to fight. I'm not fighting. I'm firing the shield. I mean, not much. It's also way too small. Thank goodness. I want this size mass. Yeah. Cool shield. I love yeah, you know, but if I'm just planning on deepening myself, that's fine. It puts me at slow probably going to attack. If then it's the whole shield here and like try to, you know, kind of look for a power in the can. But if he's running at this kind of range, he's going to just like throw a shot. You've got it. Because I mean, you got to take advantage of the shot because if he does it, that means you're blocking with this weapon out. Now's the time for you to attack. Especially since he's not going to be able to match before he gets just punches. And that's one of the advantages of this. The bad advantage though is if someone gets you the footage of middling range, they close in. It's easy to go over, because the shield being out here, once your hand passes that shield, look it outside. Once the shield can't pass the shield, you have nothing to block. You have to move the shield over. There's a strap shield supposed to move the body. I have to be much closer to get to that point, right? But really the middle range is dangerous because it's just or if it's out here, even then, yeah, I have to actually aim for that. It's a weird, awkward thing where I'm like, you have to hide it. You're trying to bait it into the range because, but you have to make a decision. People are attacking either on punching or against the leg, fighting out here, or if I'm fighting on fighting close, and make close and I'm going to get it. Chopping. Bell, I don't know if you've seen Bell fight. That's literally his bread and butter. It's just, and he just get out. You know, that's just all this is option. Really, it's all it. The goal is to punch the most time. Not to let it go on. If someone comes to me and there's a guy. There's a guy named Bell. And he gets the example of the video of this guy. On the people close with him, he is always close in. He's blocking and hitting and doing whatever he can to eventually you fight him. If he can, he disengages and comes back out. You know, so that's the reason why that is explaining to you is like this is only for purely melee combat. Or if you have a really large shield, like that guy with the ping pong board, the guy with something board, but he has a big shield. He's actually using him as a strategy. And that's fine. And I saw him in one trial, he backed out. Yeah. That's defensively if you have a large enough. You have a smaller one, and I would say slightly small. Appreciate it, though. Yeah. This one, I don't like it. So, or strap, especially, right? So for these, you have to actually play style. This is what you kind of want to lean into.
I wanted a shield big enough to if I did this, you got to shoot around me.
Yeah, and this is fine if you're like out here, and you're coming on the ground and you're like fighting, holding shield back is fine. But as soon as like, I'm sorry, like literally I'm fucked. I don't have to know like, and then if you follow my hand, I'm coming down, and there's nothing I can do except for also block you. And then you have to advantage. But you gotta be able to take the action. Sometimes you can do it too much time. Just fire right on. Whichever your style is closer to the range. If it does have an option of play, it's just because if you step in, with the shield against his shield, and he has to control. He has to go over the top. And it's really nice when they throw a shot if you do it, because it's really fun for people.
Yeah, for sure.
You play Emperor? Yes. How many warriors? Okay.
Yeah, my sparring, fighting, really bad brain.
How'd it go? Get
Great.
Some good fights. Everybody feeling good, loose. We notice anything about what our opponents were doing? We get some input. Some of it seemed like it made an impact. I gave you, we kind of went around, gave you some input, and then failed on you. It seemed like some of it was beneficial right off the bat. Yes, it was great. Okay, awesome. You guys were the best. I'm so glad that this was a good time. Thank you. Thank you.
What was something specific that you guys heard from one of us, or maybe like you realized when you were fighting that you're like, yeah, I need to do that from now on?
Keep the shield out more, cut off more lanes,
right?
And instead of keeping it as close in as it was.
Yes, middling range is an okay resting spot. It's okay to like keep it here if there's a distance between the opponent. But if they're attacking you, either should be close in for close range fighting or far away, generic. Obviously, there's exceptions to how they're engaging you. For the most part, this is how you cut off the lanes at range, and this is the only thing you can do when someone's right here on top. Right? You got to get used to these movements of blocking shoulder hip, because that's what they're going to be aiming on you, because they see it, and then they see it. That type of thing. But yes, keeping the shield out more. If you can hold it here, you have worse angles than a strap.
Well, and remember guys, there's a danger to being too stationary in general with your defense or your equipment. You don't want to ever let your opponent take advantage of you. Like, we talk about like having good static defense and lots of aspects of fighting, but that's like mostly a strap problem. Center grip. This is like one of the absolute best opportunities to not get yelled at for moving it around a bunch, because it kind of throws you. And as we identified for a few people, and it's maybe not everybody's problem, but where you are at station, if this is the stationary place that they always want to be, the problem is that you're not really safe on that shoulder anymore, because it's not really doing its job. This is still a pretty easy wrap. It might seem like you're safe, and this is just kind of getting comfortable with the concept that I can be this much further out. There's a simple example when his ability closed up like this. Like, if this is making contact, that was there. That was like 1 or 2 inches tops of movement away from the body to suddenly make that not make contact, okay? It's a little bit different in the demo here part. We'll just kind of turn this way so they can see your face. So they can see your shoulder. So here's the idea. Too close, pretty easy to make contact. Now here's the block. But that was very simple.
Elbow length, basically, too. Is that's the really good starting range to start with, just as a passive block. And you can almost put your elbow right on your hip a little bit to feel it out. But you can be more mobile. But this length is a good starting point to start with your guard, and then adjust it as you, especially for the size of the shield and things like that, and adjusting from there. Here is definitely almost always too close.
Like you're better off just bringing it closer, pretending it's a strap, and then using it like a strap.
Like where was he? Where'd he go? Did he leave? The dwarf guy. The one with the flail.
Yeah,
so this, I don't want to touch his equipment without his permission. He has a very large shield, and he was using it very statically like this. He was doing it with shield side forward, and he was holding it close to his body. And, oh, you can touch it? Okay, good.
I can demonstrate.
Okay. So he was holding it very close to his body, but look how the size of his shield, right? It's covering a lot, and he already has, like he was holding up a little bit higher than that, and you already had the angle cut off. So, but he wasn't being, he was trimming it as a pseudo strap, but he was actually making efforts to sometimes punch out, which I said was a good idea, because that's the, I mean, you have to use the punch shield in that way, otherwise it's just a strap shield.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. You were identifying earlier that there is this concept of being able to have this either presented close or presented far, and then moving in and outside of your own personal range of your equipment, and how hard that is, depending on the size of shield, of course, for your opponent to actually notice that you've changed the distance in which you are relative to them. And there's another pro, and this is sort of like a side thought. We can talk about it more if you want to. But doing this makes a lot of people go, oh, I can't go any closer than their shield. I would be running into it, especially for the poor amp guarders. So they kind of get caught up in this, they fight you that far away issue. And that's just not the case because you can move positionally around them. If I do this, man, I'm not going to move closer to me. But when I do this, no, this is my space. You can't be there. So there's something about projecting your defense anyways that can be a deterrent to somebody's forward momentum. And that's not even bashing them. That's not even talking about like the shield-on-shield contact you can make, or when you're cross-gaming in other games where I can actually give a little good jab or a good press on their equipment. So it's fascinating to see that this makes such an impact. So like, leverage it sometimes. Just find out. Some people will panic. Side thought, sorry, definitely not the purpose of that. So anyways, my thought in generally across everybody is everyone's a little statically probably here, and there's some risk if the person's very good at throwing the wraps. And it's not strictly just shoulder. I hope that part makes sense. It's all the hips, it's all the shoulders, and even defensively in general. If, let's say you are pretty squared up defensively, cool. We've made our lives really complicated, okay? This is pretty basic shield, like 101 stuff, but we're in shield class, so we'll talk about it. It's extra apparent that we screwed up when we're using a punch that's too close, because now I've got access to every hip. You made your job hard because I have to make a lot of assumptions on whether or not I'm going to get hit in that hip, that shoulder, I don't know, my arm, my leg. My defense has become very, very, very challenging. So why don't we simplify our defense in general? And we can do that by changing how we stand. Okay? This is an active style, which means we can really be loose with this. We can really be loose with this. We can have all kinds of fun. I mean, hell, our bodies are facing that way, and we're fighting. Like, we have access to this, and we can make up for any kind of, like, when I'm strapped up, my body's like this, my butt's kind of in a crazy position. I'm in trouble, right? But I've got a center grip, which means I can present myself in a way where I've said, you can throw over here at my forward hip or my forward shoulder, but boy, oh boy, is that far away now. And I've kind of simplified what can happen for my opponent. I've basically presented, you have this, and you have this, and you're probably not going to throw there, and if they do, it should be death or doom. But you're not trying to reach past my equipment in a very dangerous way. Same idea if you change your stance to, I'm facing that way. I've now said that this is pretty far, you have two options. I've now made it like a 50-50 if it's a guessing game on where I'm going to probably get it. And then you can present this thing to do crazy stuff. And Manama wants to reach across, well, we have this. This gets to do all of this, and that's a really wonderful thing. So keep in mind, don't be too close, and don't be too square. Just gotta always touch on it, because it's important. Yeah, so it sounds like everybody got a little something out of the sparring portion. We talked a little bit about just the foundation of your defense and like something to think about here. Now the fun part generally is what we can do actively with this and how we can combine our offense with this sweet piece of defense to do really kind of rad stuff. That's what everybody wants anyway, so you know, we'll talk about some sweet silver bullet shots and things that are important. Because they do. Dear God, this Paul would know. Oh man, I'm going to talk about something. My poor eyeballs.
What was the next thing you said?
We're going to talk about how to use it offensively in combat. I mentioned this to a few people. The biggest thing is I know this is a horrible example, but everybody played Dark Souls, Elden Ring, those types of games. What it does in our game though is actually disruption. Because normally when you take a shot, you're taking a shot at somebody. You have a plan for if you miss or if you hit, right? Either the sword's going to bounce off, or you're going to have to bring it back to you because it missed, they backed off or whatever the case is. Either way, your sword's going to have a trajectory afterwards. And you're used to what that actually is and how you control the recoil of your sword to bring it back into your defense. And that's how you keep yourself defensive at the same time as you're attacking. With a punch shield, you can disrupt that very easily because you literally just have to punch into their attack.
Now, obviously, this is dangerous with feints, because if you punch into a feint, you are opening yourself up to things. So you have to learn your opponent's maneuvers and how to do things when they're committing shots. But when you do it right, after that initial, like, Lily, go ahead. Are you okay? Oh, you're not okay.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm ready.
So just for a simple, like, board shot, as soon as I do this thing, if I'm able to especially hit his hand with the shield, you have a lot of options to either step in and start attacking, or just attacking the arm, because it's going to take longer for them to recover, or possibly recover weirdly because they're not used to what just happened. The same thing happens when you shove your body into, like, if someone's back in the side of the board side, if you just step into that shot, often people get caught up here, right? They attack like this, and now they have to do a weird recoil to bring their guard back. And you're basically creating that with the shield motion in place, without having to do that lateral movement. Let alone if you do a lateral movement at the same time, you can really fuck up a lot of things just by pushing your shield onto their sword into their space, because their recoil is about here is where you have to take advantage of those things. And that's really where the offensive part of the shield really comes into place, is learning that timing of when do you want to aggress and attack. Because you can even just use it for counter side. You don't have to get on top of your opponent. You can just attack out and then start attacking their arm. Because once again, like I said, there's going to be a delay there. But the other option also is, as you close, just blocking off that initial thing right away, and you're ready, and their shield is a strap, especially if it's a strap shield, they're not going to stop your sword. You have free reign. They have to move out of the way, or they have to get their sword unblocked and then attack you somewhere else. There's like all those options. So it's explosive, offensive action. But the shield is required to do it. I can't just hold it here and then move in and expect them to like run into my shield, right? They're gonna go around me. So holding it out,
which is great input. And there is some issues for, look, it's a perfectly legal thing to do in our game. You can put your equipment into someone's equipment. Their hand counts as equipment as long as it's wielded, okay? It's kind of a technicality. Some people will be upset that you sort of pseudo punch them in the hand. But, like, I do it all the time with my sword, so there's not much difference, okay?
People do this all the time.
This happens, it's, you know, I might punch the middle of the sword. This is definitely always, well, sorry, some of those, do we have a plywood shield here somewhere?
Oh, they don't have the foam on the front?
Plywood center?
That's the core, yeah.
I have one in my tent. I'm ready.
So anyways, keep in mind, this is an option. It can even just change the way in which we hold our equipment. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be in this. It can be turned to this if that's what you like, especially like for me, if I want to do sword foot forward with a little lower stance and really present like this is what you're fighting. I'll turn my shield to be flatter against my arm anyways, and I basically, this might be low, I dare you throw here, please. I want to be able to project this, like Manama was talking about, into their equipment, and then I have access to throwing underneath my equipment, I have access to rolling this up, I can project it out, I can then put myself in a position here, we can project it out to hopefully deter them from throwing, maybe intercepting the shot. You have a ton of options. Play around with it. This is going to be deeply personal to your style of play. I can't be like, this works 100% of the time, because it just doesn't. Like we addressed earlier, if it's a fake, you're probably going to get hit. And
you parry at the same time.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm just so dead. But that is a negative. If you guys haven't experienced that yet, depending on like how much time you've put in, how much like work on this, I let you get away with a lot, but they are susceptible to getting faked. Like every center grip guy. For a long time, that was my favorite thing in the world. I'm like, they're not that big a deal, I'll just fake, and I hit them. But as we learn these extra skills, even just my defensive profile for my hip and my shoulder out here, because I've changed this to be able to leverage on my body, it's now changed the way that I get ass wrapped or the way that they throw their shoulder wrap. And I normally wouldn't do this with my strap shield. But the idea is still being able to put this into a place, so I have the positioning and the placement to put it out from my body, and even then when I keep it tight, it's tight. I cannot harp on this enough that it will make a difference here and here when this is rough.
And two things to add on that. First, for the Bellegarde players, this is legal in Bellegarde. Oh, yeah. Into the shoulder. Specifically the shoulder, because what happens is you literally stop the especially if you have a medium shield. I hate small shields as much. But like,
but my force of it.
But like the force of it is it's like you're boxing with the shield, and it's legal in Bellegarde specifically, to do this, because you will literally stop their shot, whatever it is, because they're going to get hit in the shoulder and they're going to have to recover.
Even if they get contact, it won't be a efficient force of battle if you do that.
Correct.
I like it for my cross gaming. This is the same size that I like to use. I like the
You can do it with the strap shield as well. You can open up your strap shield and then fucking just jack them in the shoulder. But for the punch shield specifically, it's much easier to retract it afterwards and you get it back into you. And the other thing is we talked about someone baiting you, right? And you commit to a parry. So you can technically then bait your parries.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And then get ready for the next shot that they're about to do, and then parry that one. So you can. This is the step ahead part of it. Once you're used to, okay, to keep faking I keep following for it. Maybe I can try to literally bait the parry, because I know that they're going to follow up in some manner, and learn what those follow-ups are and go from there.
Well, for Amcard, I can't really hit them with my shield. You know, so an easy and safe and one of my favorite, and it's pretty much because it takes the attention, is when I want to like throw this combo, I'll present this forward after my sword. This comes in through that, usually gets some kind of response. Basically, whatever game that I'm cross gaming into. If it's Beldeg players, I might have punched them with the shield. You know, it makes sense, right? They should like, oh, I don't want to get fucking hit. The Amp Guarders, it's panic. Why would this guy do this? It doesn't make any sense. But it lets me do something with this, whether it's going to be here, drop a cross, it's an ass wrap, whatever. It's kind of dealer's choice as you develop your shots into this style of play. Don't forget about your natural baits that this gives you. It gives you an incredible amount of them, which is going to let us be offensive in a way that I think is super cool. It's all that counterfighting. Counterfighting is super dope. And it's going to help you understand that if you know that this is what you're baiting and you want to be able to put your interceptor shot with your equipment, you can. You've presented this shoulder. Yeah, maybe I could throw there, but that's usually kind of high risk, so I'm probably going to throw something like this, which lets us work through all of the things we're already talking about, whether that's projecting this or sucking it in, or hell, just moving. Like, you know, it's there. Oh, well, I'm in a lot of trouble, right? How do you protect yourself, though? Really, I wouldn't just throw into their board shoulder without doing something to save myself. Sure. Okay, cool. Well, what are our options, right? This is another cool part about being able to use the center grip. When I throw this, and we've just kind of established, I'm going to get countered with this. We know that. We should establish that. We understand. I've now baited this with my arm. We know that this is probably the predictable return. I put my offense this way. I'm super far away this direction. So we're throwing this. We're able to come across, throw into something like that, whether it's a dark side or something kind of classic, whether it's just putting this across, re-punching out and trying to re-throw that board shoulder a second time. Hopefully they go, oh shit, I blocked it. I can reset my defense again. When people reset the defense, they generally get hit a second time. We have the ability to take advantage of this. You can also do some pretty cool stuff if you are down for your big level changes. And I'm old, but so if we want to throw like something big like a shoulder to ass wrap or ass wrap to shoulder, whatever it's going to be with one of these big movements, we kind of understand, again, the natural baits of this. Like, this is kind of where this is at. I'm going low with you. You can start to project this high. You can throw this into this stuff. Shit, you can put this thing up here if you really want to and go for that sweet double leg while you're underneath their guard. Like, you're not really limited, so you should play with this. Experiment a little bit, okay? Like, somebody might say that's a ridiculous idea, but I have seen many good fighters over the years, do something wild with a strap shield, doing exactly the same thing and throwing that sword side hip for that money, and putting his shield over himself, and throwing something like that. It's just easier for us. This lets us have fun with that. But it takes a little practice. Yes.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this stuff. Literally the first thing someone taught me in strap shield and card, like literally, was
let me switch sides.
go like this. Yeah, so like, it's literally throw your arm out like this, but then you pump the shield back in, and you just go like this, and you keep walking. It's just part of the natural fakes that we're going to get with this. So it's just a big fake. Right? Because I'm trying to get him to commit to my arm, and then when he commits, you just walk off this entire quadrant and then hit.
There's some other pros. If you want to range fight with this, I have the ability again to project this and protect my arm. I can project my chest. If they want to reach across, we then have some more play. And so if that's like, I want to, let's say we're squared up and I want to try to hit Manama on the hip from here, I won't go across there because I'll hit you in the wiener on accident. But if we're trying to throw like just like a board hip, we can kind of present ourselves lower. I still have the ability to do this. I still understand that my defense is still pretty projected back. And we can try to do this hip, but I still have the ability to bring this across. And if that solicits the shoulder, that's okay because we're still out. It's still projected in a way where we're still kind of safe to throw this. into some other combo from underneath. We have these little doubles. If you don't have those kind of combos in your repertoire, that's a thing we can definitely talk about. They're not exclusive to this. It's just kind of a foundational fighting thing, being able to combo more than one shot. I did see this happen a few times. First you win, that you guys would do a good job kind of pressing in. You would sort of, you know, you're being active, you're moving, you're trying to get ready, you're fighting, you're doing your thing, and someone's like, all right, combo. Right. And you gave up all the advantage. You had all the control of the fight. And it's not any one person, it's a lot of people. It's all the time. And you did all that work, had all that control, and you stopped. There's something to reset, but let's just add another part of the combo when we're doing this, right? This is now the time to go, okay, well, cool, we're here, I'm throwing my combo, boom, forward shoulder, maybe we do something fucking crazy. Maybe we're back here, we did all that work, we might as well leverage it. Manama wants to bail and legitimately gets away, cool. Now, basically, don't chase him over 3 steps. Why? You know, when I get to like this position, you can keep running, but you might get punished because now you're kind of reaching. If they don't want to run, they want to box, well, okay, good. That's perfect. This is where we're at. Just don't throw it, because every single time, and this is very susceptible to this, we get into this, I'm throwing my combo, I'm like, all right, I better leave. And then they follow and they murder me with something because I have more openings because of the nature of this being able to be out. Easier to get faked, easier to get hit, and a lot of people will roll shield styles that are smaller punches. It's not necessarily the same forgiving amount of coverage that I have with this 30F one. Just keep it in mind, if you retreat, you might die. And if you're not dying in the retreat, okay, well, you should kill them when they retreat. That's kind of the idea. So,
if you want to talk about, so something that you don't really think about, a lot of strap shields, arm, right? There's a position on the strap shield that you would either have to move your shield out of the way to. Most strap shields are designed to be like right where your arm is like at the edge. So when you go to take shots, you have the freedom and motion of your arm to be able to do whatever you want with it, because the shield is not preventing your motion. When I hold the shield out here, it's a problem, right? I actually am missing now some of my shots because the shield is actually pulling away from protecting out to my body. So recognize that you might have to learn at what point does the shield need to be close enough to start to do that shot, and then bringing it out that way. You know what I'm saying? Like in out. So you can take the shot, come back in, or leverage. Once again, your dark side is much better than your strap shield, because you can literally go like this, project out, and then just stab, whatever the case is, because you have all that. You can literally shelf your shield much easier and bring it back when you need it. So, but understand that when you have the shield breaking out, you are missing some of your rapport now, because you can't, the shield will physically be in the way. So you'll have to learn, you know, like right here is where I'd be able to throw this outside shot or something like that, right to the hip, but I can't do it out here. I should be able to physically in the way. So it's something that you might realize when you're doing things, and recognize that when you need to really coordinate the movement basically more to be able to continue doing these types of things.
As you become more familiar with your equipment, you start thinking about this, you become in tune with what you're doing. It's pretty helpful for my Florentine game, frankly. Like, I'm not hitting them with this necessarily, but just understanding that, like, this is a part that I can move and has a purpose here. So if you want some bonus shield time, you can go smaller and smaller and smaller, or you can do some flow and then start understanding, like, oh yeah, I can also put my sword here. Any questions, comments, concerns so far at this point? We can talk a little bit about this, got kind of lecture-y. Is anything that anyone wants to see in particular? Excellent. We can demo it, we can talk about it, whether it's a shot you've seen, thought about, or whatever. It's no problem. If not a big deal. Continue to roll on. Excellent.
I've noticed you're projecting your thumb up on your shield.
Oh, yeah, I do that sometimes. Okay, so I'll put my glove on. So this is a little big, minus my glove. So while I'm just like ungloved, like it's just kind of huge in my hand because it's the way this was cut. But from time to time, when I want to do this, I like having the ability to either, like, your thumb's gonna get broken. Well, I'm not playing Bell and Dag, so I'm just like infinitely less concerned about like my thumb safety here. And I'll also let it float a little bit here, so like if it does get hit, my thumb can kind of slip off. So it's the same way like if I'm fighting with like a saber grip, I end up slipping through here versus my thumb breaking. But I like to be able to put this into this position. The way I roll it, demo does. here I feel like they get too much control for me. When I start to get to here, I have a little more control about what I want to do with the way that I present this. And so it just kind of changes what I can do, and especially when I try to push it sideways. I suddenly have a ton of control on this. Basically, they can only move it by pushing it this way, which just kind of pushes it back into this neutral defensive stance anyways. Personal preference, it's something you can try out. If you break your thumb, I'm super sorry. I've never had a problem. But yeah, and if I was cross gaming over, I probably wouldn't. I would probably keep this more just stabilized, or I would just kind of brace myself and fight more in this position, and then just kind of project it when I need to project it. But that's the other pro here, I guess I didn't think about it. I protect my legs a lot better with my equipment when I'm fighting with this than I do with my strap. My strap requires me to move my feet a lot more to save myself defensively from that, whereas this one just kind of lets me go, oh cool, they're going to hit me in the leg, and I can just kind of intercept it in the way we talked about here. And I don't even have to bend myself super low to necessarily do that.
I don't think you have a pull on your history shield though, because I'm used to using this size of shield. So there's actually something really interesting with punch shield and pole arm specifically. Yeah. Because usually against strap, right, or against the pole arm, you have to go usually your shield side forward, or your shield foot forward, right, so you can get down low and you prevent the leg shots. So that's the most dangerous part.
Hey, my little pole.
So technically with the punch shield, you can actually swap it. So if you swap it to the shoulder, what happens is you're presenting this part of your body. You can keep your sword down here to block the legs and keep the shield up blocking high. And now you can control the pole arm down here and scoop and then come in close. And I've had the most success running pole arms specifically with a punch shield like this in format, because you have it's easier for you to defend your legs and your torso at the same time. Because a lot of pole armors, especially when they're going against you, they're trying to work all sides of your body, right, to try to prevent, get around your shield.
For the cross gamers, they have to be a little careful about like the ammo.
Correct. Well, specifically against your leg, this I'm actually using it to sweep. I'm not using it to like lock my leg specifically like this. I mean like when they go to stab my leg, I can literally sweep. You're literally sweeping and catching it against the shield, and you're basically holding it there as a pivot, and then you can just push in with the shield itself. You can also do a thing too, is if they actually go below for your legs like that, you can also literally just push the shield into the ground and you just stuff it. And so, but holding your stance like this is really crucial, because sometimes you're at that max range where they can stab you from way the heck down here, right? You don't have that option to stuff yet, so you need to be able to defend your legs. And when you're like this, defending your leg like this with your offhand is not the same, right? And the shield isn't the same, because we're using a punch shield. The shield, you notice, is covering the same torso area. It's literally just making the offensive hand forward to be able to control easier the pull on the ground. And as soon as it's in range, you stop it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my option every time. I just like to find a way to circle, get the pole arm in a position I think is advantageous for me with the shield, and then stuff the thing, whether it's out or in. A little bit of difference, I guess, since Amcard doesn't always have like the breaking or the red effect or whatever for their pole arms. Like cool beans, it means that these are very strong generally against the poles, unless we get like battle games. If you're real fast, you can get there in a, 2 for Beldeg? Yeah, 2 red. Yeah. But yeah, being able to do exactly what he's talking about and control it and push that thing down on your press in is pretty good. Just about their handedness makes a big difference too, but that's a different class against a real class. If they're fighting with it in their left primary or their right primary, it really changes the mechanics on how I want to press them. But
also, they're protecting outwards and then baiting the red. You literally can just bait the red too, like this. Because sometimes they'll just scrape off your shield if you're going to 2 hits, and you're like, no, and then that can be your engagement. That can be that extra few inches of engagement as you go like this, as you engage, and then they go to red it. You bring it in and let it slide down, and then they're hitting red, but you already take 2 steps as opposed to just strapped. You're at the mercy as soon as you step into range.
Question.
Going off of the projecting, like your shield, like what's the, I guess, you covered it a little bit, like the method on whether you project going into certain types of shots, whether it's like a wrap or a chop, something like that. Like, are you reading it to go to project into like a straight chop going through, or like bringing it in?
So let's not like try to make it too complex in like the grand scheme of things. It can be as simple as like, here we are, we're gonna fight, we're doing our thing, and unless I'm getting like high crossed very specifically, anything on this kind of quadrant, I feel pretty confident that I can project this thing out to it. And it's like, So that's just kind of understanding that when it's out here in this zone for me, I feel comfortable that I can kind of do this and get into that kind of position. If it's going to be like across, my sword is basically here to keep me safe anyways, as long as I haven't compromised this. And if I'm going to like, oh god, I've put my sword somewhere else, I can start to put this across and try to do something wild in this, right? It's just reading like where is this shot going to go and understanding like what's likely to happen to me when I make that decision. Now, if your defense is just good generically, your feet can keep you safe, and you can just always go, oh god, I'm gonna die, and take a half step away or something, and give yourself some more space to work while you do this. If you're too close, life gets hard. If you're in a good position, you know, you can play with these ranges.
Especially the projection thing, it really matters the size of your shield, the shape of your shield, this part specifically, because you know what you block and what you can actually push your shield into, because the weight does matter. It takes time. Unlike a sword you can do lose your blocks really fast. Shields, because of the extra weight, take time. So it's going to be it's going to be a big timing thing to understand when you need to do that projection and when you're not. And it's really going to, it sucks to say it depends on the shield, but it kind of does, especially the size of the shield. Like a spell shield like this, I need to be a lot more active with blocking, which means sometimes I do have to bring it a lot more often because there's times where I'm like, this is my only option. If they're close in, I don't really have any other option than to do this if they're like right there proper. Right, so it's just, this would take a long time to go into, unfortunately, for that type of thing. But the generics of creating space, these are types of things that is definitely going to matter very much your style of fighting, whether or not you are a counter fighter, or if you're a press and go fighter, or if you're, just trying to get some baits and feints in. Those all will depend.
Who's your opponent?
Yeah.
What are they likely to do?
So,
my goodness.
If they're going to aggress me constantly, I have to be ready to stuff them out,
I guess
or I
kind
need to
of
be ready
what
to.
I was thinking with it is projecting and then having like it close to you, like I guess what is the safer option compared to like which shot? So like if somebody's throwing a top,
it's tough because it really depends on you. I feel very safe with blocking specific ways for myself and like what I'm comfortable with and the stuff that I've learned. I think developmentally it's something that you will start to pick up as you play this. Like I hate that this isn't like an answer really to this, but you have to play around with this. Don't be too cautious. Make mistakes, take L's, because you're learning. Every single L is going to give you knowledge to then be better at this and just getting into this predictable response thing. I promise you, Bell isn't thinking about doing this every single time. He knows it works and he knows someone's going to throw there, so he just does it. And it has high amounts of success for him at this point. But in the time, he's got the effort, he understands, and it probably isn't a thought process that he's got. I know that this is the time. Pretty much just does it now. From the start. Yeah, it's part of how he plays. It's what he's developed. It's the blade he has sharpened. So while you sharpen your blade, you'll start to learn this. Just take some L's. You'll figure it out, I promise. But again, simply here, over there. Cool. You can start projecting it if you know where they're going to go. I do want to move us on to the next thing. I know we can keep doing this, but we are going to run out of time at some point. So I want to move us on to group fighting and discussing, but right here. So two people fighting. We're going to watch this fight, we're going to discuss this fight, we're going to give you input while you fight, but I want to do it collectively. Like what you guys see matters. This is going to help you flex your own mentality here while playing. What are they doing? What do you see? What do you think they could have done differently? There's no wrong answer, and none of it's going to be offensive or anything like that. This is a game where we all kind of judge each other constantly, so I guess we should do that in a fun, constructive way. And
you want to line them up in two different lines facing each other, and then two people, the next two.
Yep. And then they can all get. We'll do like a two-fight kind of thing. You get one, try again, and then we'll do a quick discussion, and then we'll send you back. We're just gonna do that thing. I think it would be really helpful that you have. Yeah.
Now again, sort of in the kind of showing in this way.
That's right. I mean, you're playing with first day. You're good. The biggest advice too is as soon as the hand can pass the edge of the shield, they're going to hit you. There's no angle that they can't. As long as they're wrapping, they're going to hit you. So that is the point. That's one of the reasons why to hold the shield out a little bit further is because yes, their hand can wrap it, but they're wrapping into a different space. If you keep it near your body, as soon as their hand passes, you're pretty much screwed. So, sorry about that.
No, you're good. You guys are doing great. This is exactly what we're doing this one. Real time, live advice while you're doing it. It's on.
So, this is a lot.
Now, I want you to consider that because you have this punch, you can do dynamic things in the matchup where you have an advantageous position. Okay, so for example, can you use the single sword again like that where you're limited? So because you have this cool piece of equipment, there are some really good single sword dudes that are very deadly at this. Okay, we're not discrediting them, but I want to make your life easier since you have technically the advantage. When you reach out here, the predictable thing kind of to happen is him to block and try to cut me or hit me. We know that, which means we can start projecting this across. This is really far away. I talked about it a bunch of times. So when we start throwing this, we're able to put this in a position to keep us safe, and we can then start to be mechanically dynamic, while again projecting this across and making his shot a really bad one. The best shots are on this side of my body now. He's an off-handed fighter. This is going to be really tough for him to want to throw him peekaboo over here on this side, as I am dynamically going that way. Okay. All right, excellent. Two new. I was worried about the hip. Nah, don't worry about it.
You just look like you were ready to go, but you didn't know what to do. You're just
Look at those shields doing cool shield stuff. And like, let's go ahead and keep fighting.
I definitely noticed they're using their shields a lot more.
Go ahead and tell them and just leave me.
You're using your shield a lot more than like punch players. You guys are a little bit more static, but then you're moving and using what the shield affords you to.
Great example. Let's do another one, and then if we got more input, we'll give it to you. Sweet. Woo! Are you good? I was out to splash on this work.
So like, he stepped into you really hard, right? Which then allowed him to go past the shield.
He did a really good thing.
Yeah, and you weren't able to push your shield out in time, but you also didn't step back. So yeah, just dead.
Well, I was thinking I should do strap shot, but now I can do this as I do it.
It changes the whole thing.
Great sometimes I can't even get the shield back.
We'll get you some more input. All right, two. I'm shiny and proud. My blood is gasoline. So a little careful with amp guards rules specifically. The shear contact to his body is 100% equal. Now, I'm not dogging on you for it. Cross gaming events are always challenging, giving people that want to life. It's not necessarily negative. Bell tag, good job. No, amp guard.
I know the guy.
No,
going
bad amp guard. Bell tag
kind of more just like pushing it out and getting in than trying to get in.
Again, I don't think it was intentional like that, but just the difference of the rules. You good? All right, striker. Both angles, very good throw. Another piece of advice, if you fight a player who wants to be aggressive and try to bring that shield pressure to you like that, and especially with the cross-gaming things, it's okay to just be like, I'm going to fight him like 4 feet further away than I ever would and just continue to maintain a range where you don't get hit. And remember, basically what you did, where you took advantage of the angles you could get around his equipment. So it was very, very good, and just not getting punched the second time.
Yeah.
You fatigued? Are you tired?
I'm trying to not use energy when I'm not engaging. I would say. Once I got up here, I'm up.
It was a little late, though. That's what we're saying.
Right, like,
it was already hitting.
I was like, was this full scarred? Are you trying to pull?
But I will say, Crow, also, you actually had your shield, even when you were engaging him and you were hitting him, if you would have countered up, you would have gotten, your shoulder was definitely, had the shield been close to you, your shoulder was definitely available to you. So just FYI, I know it didn't happen, but
this will be the one
definitely make sure that guard is, even just bring it down a little bit more, would have been better.
Thanks for that.
Excellent.
That was a good cheeky little shield, right? Like don't move your shield over just enough for him to flash over.
You push the shield with your steps in, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh no, I just want to quick start it. We just want to. Alright.
So yeah, we want to talk about the first thing that happened, which was pushing the side of the shield. Yeah, that's one of the problems with the punch shield, because your shield is very easily pushed to one side, and it's hard to recover because you have to be already torquing on the shield back to get that speed to be able to prevent the shot, because his shot literally came faster than he could bring the shield back.
You know why I do the thumb thing every once in a while?
Yes, because you can control the shield better if you have your thumb on the handle sometimes. So it is one of the reasons why you might want to grip it harder.
So I do want to throw in, if this, I guess it should be the other way around, but like, so we're getting this kind of play on this, right? You have the option, and this is the predictable response. This is not a dog on you. This is what everybody kind of does in this. Aha, I put pressure. The pressure's released. I need to fix my shield defense and put it back where it was. Everybody sort of subconsciously does it. I don't want to be like this. I want to be like this. This is a good place to be. You have a few options. One of them is just push that. You're stronger than my sword stab. You can just push this, gain control, and then cut me for it. Like, you could have chosen to do that, or you could just fucking leave.
Just step back.
Like, I'm not going to partake in it. Now, obviously, there's some play around this. If like we're both fighting, I'm trying to get you to step in. You kind of step in, I punch it and hit you. That's hard. That's very fast. But you do have the ability to just, you can also raise it that way if you think it can hit you. Like, you have this cool heater for a reason. Now I have to try to get around this while you're actively presenting it this way. It makes my life a little harder. It's never going to be the perfect answer to any of these situations. Obviously, if you stab at a good time and if you take advantage of it. But this, back to here, it's hard. We all do that. We all reset to where we feel safe and comfortable. So taking advantage and, yeah, fuck it. We'll commit. Dark side, or something to that effect. Be things to play around with. Yep.
I like to step into the stab. It's like
that's
a reaction I don't get. Yeah, just go into it.
You also have another option from that instead of going outside board side if they start to get used to this. I guess I'll give both sides of this. So if we're doing the stabbing here and we're coming here, cool. From fakes and feints, second this breaks your eye line, they're going to reset that shield high, which means I just get to come low again. We just don't have to commit to this. Going outside if we don't want to. Obviously, it worked great. It was a great shot, great combo. It's just another option that makes you less predictable. No, it's going to make it so hard for me. Like, if I know that all you do is go stab shoulder, I have some play. If you go stab fake shoulder hip again, I'm in a lot of trouble. You really change the dynamic. It's a lot of guesswork for me. That was a great example. Thank you for throwing stab. Not that you guys should all stab each other.
Hide where I'm going.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people throw this.
Yeah, like I will swipe up to get them to go high and then swap over to here. Because they can't. Up there, now I'm hitting you over here.
That is the coolest part about this style. Shoe? Yeah. If we have odd numbers, we'll make sure.
No, got my back. Leaving that open.
Here, now, this is a great example. That bad boy can go way over across. You really got a good chance. And if your opponent's committed to throwing it that deep, which isn't necessarily wrong, obviously it's playing some dividend, you have the ability to get that across and now at least make an attempt somewhere else. And some of this can be movement as well. Rotating yourself out and away from the shot. Like if I'm throwing into this shot, you can swing this whole leg around. Oh, yeah, you have a ton of cool options. You can do this whole rotation if you want to, since the opponent is now committed to this type of shot, you can go. And now I'm in a lot of trouble if I'm overcommitted. I can still bring this here. I still have options to sort of swing out or whatever, try to step into this. There's play, but in this case, it's kind of a one-shot combo. It worked out. Yeah. But get that block. Right. Nice shot, combo. I'd say this is maybe a little tight, but you're not quite being threatened. So if you want to present a little more offense at your opponent here, it's going to make him have to work and gain a lot of control. Okay.
Especially defensive punch shield. We talked about the fact that if they project their punch shield outwards to stop you, that also means that it's harder for them to fire now. They have to go under the shield or they can't. You know what I'm saying? The high shots actually, they lose high shots. Yeah. So forcing the punch shield to actually commit to it at some times is the way to remove certain shots that happen.
You still have to go, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Come join us. You'll Nice exchange. I already have some fun input. So have you noticed that he's showing kind of low with this, but the sword's still kind of projected across this plane. It's still kind of open, and a lot of options are presented for you to throw. It's a very cool thing to do. Like, this isn't just for hitting. We can block ourselves in some pretty unique ways with our equipment, not called a shield. So don't undersell what your sword can do for you. Very good, dynamic, active fighting. Excellent work. Very cool. Anyone see anything else they want to input on this?
This shot, like you're up here, and this looks really open, but it's way away from them. So like you're baiting the shot, it's hard to get to it. Like
Oh yeah, it would be more effective if I had shield leg forward. I think that'd be a more compelling bait than this.
I mean, here it's bigger bait, but it's way harder to block it. So
there's also like this. This feels like a really natural bait for this, but it would make it extremely obvious what I'm trying to do against an experienced fighter such as Elias.
Sometimes it's worth it. Look, you cannot undersell, and I'll do it at this event. I'll do it at lots of events. I am pretty happy to have my guard in a stupid place, and sometimes it just works because it's too obvious. Like if my equipment's hanging out like this, just hang out like that, and I love doing this. I mean, why is he doing it? I should throw at it. I'm fast, right? And then you get punished. Sometimes it works, and sometimes I have to pay the price of being overly confident in my defense.
Still learning.
But that's exactly it. I don't mind the error if it teaches me something. It's good. Let's go again. Nice fight. Very cool. Doing a lot of awesome stuff here. Bobby, what are you going to do? See how dynamic he was? See the positioning?
Cool.
Anyone else have any input?
Yeah, your guard was generally good. Just that last one, right? He started high and came around. So then following with the shield, right, was the problem there, which is a problem with the punch shield itself. So I think you followed it, but I think if you're going to follow it, you need to follow out,
yeah,
because
exactly.
then it actually protects against more of that shot. I think it would have caught it a little bit better. Because he almost barely got into your shield. So it was a good job.
Okay, so everyone knows we are into the passing period now. We have like 30 minutes-ish, I don't know what time it is exactly, till food.
It is 5:02.
So we have about 30 minutes to food. If you guys want to do more, fight more, talk more about any of this, we're here, no problem. Like, cowabunga, let's do it. If not, no problem. If you have questions,
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is a bit selfish. Does anybody here have ibuprofen?
everybody has drugs at it.